And we're back.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the only podcast on the entire internet that has two people who I think are, just the most humble motherfuckers on earth.
We're fucking great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we're so great because we know that secretly we are just, very quiet. We're on the down low about being great.
We don't tell anybody that we are doctors.
But not doctors.
Yeah, that's right. Welcome back to another fun-filled episode of politics and more politics.
Yeah, staring into the void, yet as the void stares back into us.
As it stares right back into us. We've been staring at this void now for 10 months.
That is outstanding. My God.
Yeah.
I would say that time flies, but no. It's actually been several decades. It's been just like the first Trump administration. Every day is full of too much news, Chris. There's just too much news.
May every day be an enigma.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. It's always an interesting week. I always say that every week, but every week is interesting.
Well, when it stops being interesting, Chris, you can stop saying it.
When it stops being interesting, we'll have to actually plan out what we're going to say.
Oh, God.
Do some research and come out like when we started this podcast.
And actually follow a plan and talk about larger ideas in political science and how they actually apply to current things instead of just, well, it's all madness, kids.
Guess what, folks?
Yeah.
Due process. Oh, no. So, which is still a thing. So this week we're going to be looking into the recently announced and signed Gaza Peace Deal.
Yeah.
We're going to be looking into the government shutdown in the United States, which is entering its second week.
Yeah, it is continuing. It is not yet done, and it doesn't look like it's going to be done in the near future, basically.
And we're going to be looking at the hellscapes, war zones that are Chicago, Illinois, and Portland, Oregon.
Indeed. Now, you think you've seen some nasty things online, people, because you've been following the war in Ukraine and, the war in Gaza. But let me tell you, you've seen nothing until you've seen people strolling down the streets of Portland.
You've seen nothing until you've seen the dinosaur from the Rugrats dancing outside of an ice facility and the cha-cha slide being done not once, but twice. All over this MFer. But without any further ado, let's get going. I think we should start globally and talk about this peace deal. The peace deal that, first off, it's always good to see that the fighting should come to an end, right? We're looking at as though the fighting is going to come to an end.
My understanding is that the fire has ceased for now. I think it's actually sort of begun. There are images coming in of people in Gaza heading back north into the areas that until very recently had been entirely denuded of people by the Israelis. So I think this is.
I know.
Yeah. Right.
I know.
So
we've been here before.
Yeah, I know. And that's the thing. And I'm I want to get my hopes up, Chris. I want to, because I want this to actually be real. I want the killing to stop. I want there to be some forward motion that doesn't lead to just, tens of thousands of children starving to death. I'd like that to not happen, if at all humanly possible.
Well, yeah.
And I want the Israeli hostages to be released. So and it seems like that is where this could go, which would be good. Well, that would be good. Yeah.
I mean, there's a 20-point plan, which we'll get to. I mean, the 20-point plan has a bunch of things in it. Like the removal of, Hamas effectively. There will be a terror-free zone. There will be a technocratic state established to figure out how to effectively fix Gaza, make it, livable again.
No
seems like those plans.
Short term. And I mean, I'd as far as endings to this horror go, a technocratic administration that exists purely to get Gaza back up and running is not the worst conceivable outcome.
No.
But, there needs to be a lot of money going in, keeping people alive and rebuilding. And, I really want to know that this plan has thought through who's going to be providing that money, because if it's just sort of someone will pay for it, it'll be fine, don't worry about it, and then no one does, then that actually is not a recipe for, anything other than continued misery and a resumption of the cycle of violence at the earliest opportunity,
Yeah.
So
it's good feelings and good vibes. But I think that, I mean, the names being floated around for this kind of technocratic committee, first off, it'll be chaired by Trump in theory.
Hooray.
But then they're saying that potentially Tony Blair could be the actual, manager of this, which is,
I mean, that's
interesting choice.
Yeah, apparently Hamas has already said absolutely no to Tony Blair. And, my thoughts on Hamas. They're a bunch of fascists. I am not a fan of them as an organization. I'm not a fan of the fact that Israel has backed them so vociferously as like the enemy forever, because they're just a better enemy than, the Palestinian Authority was.
Yeah.
That said, now I'm with them on Tony Blair. Tony Blair sucks. Yeah.
No, that's that is an antagonistic choice. Definitely. It's like asking George W. Bush to come in and
just be the Iraqi vice premier for a little bit. Just sort of like
go just the Iraqi vice premier. Just go on, because you built up so much goodwill in the region.
Exactly. So
this is obviously, we've been in these situations before with peace plans and ceasefires. I think Israel is still bombing today or yesterday, even though the plan was announced. But it seems like this is kind of the interesting part of this. I've been listening to a few and reading a few things. One, it seems like this plan was originally conceived last year.
Yeah. My understanding is that this plan was basically ready to go in like
September 2024. This plan was put in front of both Netanyahu and Joe Biden.
Right.
And it was a comedy of, well, not a comedy bears. It was a perfect storm because you had Joe Biden saying, I'm not going to do this right now. And you had Netanyahu saying, even if he does sign it, I'm going to wait until Trump gets in.
Right.
And the problem is that I think, this is my personal opinion, that Biden knew that if he had made this plan and he had publicly said, I have endorsed this peace plan, and not Netanyahu says to him, I'm not going to sign it, and therefore I don't recognize your authority just before an American election.
It would have been politically, it would have been a very tricky thing for Joe Biden to deal with, because then he would really have had to, bring the hammer down on Israel, which would be incredibly damaging to his political coalition.
A month and a half before the presidential election.
On the one hand, and on the other hand, Americans who, had been deeply, deeply concerned with what was going on in Gaza, deeply concerned with the genocide, might well have looked at him and like, okay, well, there's a peace plan. Netanyahu's not signing it. So you really need to go after him, right? And force this to happen, right? What are we doing here? Whereas Americans who sort of back Israel would have been like, well, you can't force Israel to make peace with terrorists. And it would have ripped open a big part of the Democratic coalition.
Which was obviously fragile to begin with because 20 million people didn't come out to vote. So, to sit in your hands and do nothing, classic Democrats.
The thing is, I understand the calculation that was made. I think that calculation was wrong. I think that it was morally indefensible to have the outlines of a peace plan that would work and not publicly say, look, Netanyahu, you need to do this because the killing has gone on too long. We can't have this. It's ripping the world open. And come on. So even if Netanyahu wouldn't have done it, I think Netanyahu would have refused to sign it.
Absolutely.
Like, I don't think there's any question about that.
Netanyahu clearly thought and believed that Trump was in his camp, on his side. And hell, 100%. At the very beginning of January. At the very beginning of January, Trump put out that ridiculous AI video.
Oh my God, Trump Gaza #1.
Trump Gaza #1 with a bunch of bearded women and they're all that nonsense.
Yeah, AI really is just making the world a better place, Chris.
Well, listen, it's taking up all the power and it's bringing upon the apocalypse.
Well, think about it, Chris. If we didn't have AI, sure, we'd have cheaper power and, the cost of living crisis would be decreased significantly. But on the other hand, Trump Gaza #1.
Trump Gaza #1.
Yeah.
So we've so that was one of the things that I heard about basically the plan was is basically a year, maybe 18 months old. No, I think it's a year old, obviously, because
it's past September now.
September now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy that we've had to wait this long. But obviously, the other issue that I heard was that this all came about potentially because Israel attacked Qatar.
I beg your pardon?
Because Israel attacked Qatar to blow up Hamas. Remember how they
right?
They
yes, that's right. Israel just sort of attacked an American ally and killed a bunch of citizens of a country America's allied with.
And not just attacked the ally, but attacked the ally that they had just given a $400 million plane to.
Yeah.
So they could pick up the phone and be like, hey, buddy, remember that plane that we just gave you that you could turn into Air Force One, which it isn't going to become Air Force One for
you remember that?
reasons.
Let's not call it a bribe, but come on, guy.
Yeah. Yeah. So what the hell's going on here? And so that's one theory. I'm not saying that's what happened. That is one theory of he's done an about face.
I mean, you're right in a sense. So there's a few threads being pulled on here that lead to Donald Trump decided to pull his finger out on the issue of Gaza. On the one hand, right, you do have the whole issue of, Israel, Netanyahu overplaying its hand by attacking an American ally. Which, was kind of a problem. But also at the same time, of course, what else just happened today, Chris? Indeed. It's
I was going to bring... go ahead. No.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to I have to spring it down.
Please do it.
The Nobel Peace Prize was announced.
Oh, in a sad day for all Americans. Donald Trump has not won the Nobel Peace Prize.
Know.
Guys, I mean, take a moment, lower those flags.
I think... The funny thing is, I think that if there's anything that explains why Donald Trump all of a sudden decided to get serious about actually pressuring Netanyahu to cut his fucking losses and just end the goddamn genocide.
And also for Putin.
Yeah. Well, and Putin as well, right? Yeah. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that Donald Trump cannot stand the fact that Barack Obama got a Nobel Peace Prize. Absolutely. And he hasn't. Yeah. And he does not like the fact that Barack Obama got reelected immediately after his first term, unlike Donald Trump. That Barack Obama got a majority both times when he ran, unlike Donald Trump. Yeah. And that Barack Obama has a Nobel Peace Prize, unlike Donald Trump.
Unlike Donald Trump. And the person who got the Peace Prize is Maria Corina Machado, who is the opposition leader in Venezuela. So this is a big deal as well, because just a short, and you probably know more about this than I do because you know more about everything.
Okay, that is a filthy lie, Chris. You take that back.
All right. So basically there were elections in Venezuela, I think last year, and Nicolas Maduro clearly lost those elections, but then said, I didn't lose them. Yeah. I won and I'm still in charge. Yeah. And his country, Venezuela, is going absolutely down the shitter. And basically, this person has, I think, coalesced these kind of warring opposition movements into one. And the Nobel Peace Prize Committee basically said we are supporting anti-authoritarian movements. Yeah, which is
you might think that that's a slap in the face to Donald Trump for several reasons, actually, come to think of it. Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, the thing is, right, it's very hard to say that, Ms. Machado does not absolutely deserve this. She has organized the opposition against a dictatorial regime. The Maduro regime, regardless of whether you're on the political left or the political right, regardless of whether or not you were even a fan of Hugo Chavez, right? Maduro has been shitty. He has been terrible. Seriously, he is a dictator. Yeah. B, he has screwed the Venezuelan economy and made its people suffer. C, he has threatened his neighbors with war. For example, with what's the country that's right next to it on the east? I think it's Guyana.
I think it's French Guiana and Guyana. Yeah, one of the two. Yeah,
exactly. So he basically there's a very old boundary dispute between those two countries going back to the 1800s. Interestingly enough, it was the United States that acted as the arbiter and found in favor of is it Guyana, Chris?
It's Guyana. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That found in favor of Guyana. Which is funny because Britain apparently was on the opposite side of that particular conundrum.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so basically Maduro is not a great guy is how I'll put this. And
this guy.
Yeah.
I don't like that guy.
No, I don't like him either. Yeah. I gotta say. And what's really funny is that if you're if you're a Republican, an old-line Republican in the United States, you hate Maduro. You hate him just a huge amount. He is like public enemy number one for you, right?
Yeah.
And in fact, the current Secretary of State is well known for his intense hatred of Nicolas Maduro.
Of course.
Yeah. So what's really interesting here is that Machado, being the woman who has coalesced the opposition to Maduro, was able to deliver him what appears to have been a really resounding electoral defeat in that election. So
I think
bad.
it's 2-1.
Oh, yeah. Maduro literally had to steal that election. And that's the thing, people. When the government steals an election, you know it's been stolen.
Yeah, it's
you
obvious.
You don't secretly steal an election. You do it, and then you dare anyone to do anything about it.
That's right.
While you wave a gun in their face.
Exactly.
It's not a subtle prospect.
Exactly. You still like it's. Yeah. You steal the election, and then you say, okay, well, I've also, commandeered the army. I've taken over all the functions of the state. So even we all know I didn't win, but you can't do anything to stop me because I've paid the right people and promised the right things to the right people.
Exactly.
And let's not also forget that she is basically the leader in waiting because the actual leader of the opposition left the country.
That's right. Well, the funny thing is, right, she was originally going to be the candidate to run against Maduro in the election. But then, of course, the Maduro regime decided, oh, no, we're barring you from the election. You're not allowed
That's right. She couldn't stand. That's right.
Exactly. Yeah, she couldn't stand because Maduro couldn't stand her, I'm afraid.
That's right.
Yeah. So the only person he would allow to run against him was a total unknown.
Edmundo Gonzalez.
Yeah.
I had to read that, by the way.
So, fair enough. And so Machado basically said, all right, well, he's our candidate. He's the guy who's going to end the dictatorship. Everyone, if you were going to vote for me, vote for him. And then 2/3 of Venezuela did, Chris.
Whoops.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Yeah.
That's the problem with having elections in an authoritarian state. You can lose them.
It is possible. Yeah.
It's not impossible to lose an election. That's why you either have to rig them massively or not hold them.
Yeah, exactly. Or, theoretically just govern really well so everyone likes your dictatorial ass, I guess.
Oh, I mean, there are some governments in Africa. There are some governments in Europe. There are governments in the United Kingdom that have been in power for nearly 2 decades. The S&P government being one of them. So it is not possible to be in power for a long time, but also be still supported by the people and to do it legitimately.
Yeah.
But when you know that the other
so
side
much
is
trouble, Chris.
That is a lot of trouble.
Much trouble.
It's not easy to win elections.
You have to read every day.
Oh, no. Just tell me what's on Fox News, and then I will interpret whatever they put in my face as the truth.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So that's what's happening with this peace deal. We'll see if it takes, and it sounds like a lot of people believe that it will take, probably because Trump. And this is the thing about the Nobel Peace Prize: he could have never gotten it this year because it's about the year that's just passed.
That is, I wonder if Trump understands that. Does he know that, if this thing holds, he might conceivably actually be in the running next year?
Yeah.
Right?
For what happened this year, if it holds, and sure.
To be fair, if he actually does pull off an actual peace deal that ends the killing in Gaza, if he actually does get revealed to have, pulled the right strings or done whatever, I don't care why he did it. If he's done it, and it doesn't collapse in a horror show and it doesn't turn into just flat out dictatorship. If if there is some hope, fine.
I disagree.
Really?
I disagree because of what they said about this lady. They said that they are supporting anti-authoritarian movements. And so Trump would have to also stop what he's doing in America, which we will talk about in the second half.
Oh, no.
Of this,
would he have to do that to get his fabulous prize, Chris?
I think that it's going to have to be, part and parcel of getting the prize is to stop, disregarding the Constitution in your own country while trying to, solve for Middle East and solve for Putin.
Well, gosh, Chris, I think someone should probably let him know.
Yeah, well, I doubt there's anyone out there who's willing to tell him to his face that OPS, just Stephen Miller. I'm sure.
Yeah, you think Stephen Miller is not going to be? He's not going to be the guy who's going to, sit down Donald Trump and be like, look, Don, if you want that prize, you're going to have to ease off the dictatorship.
Listen, if you think that Stephen Miller calls Donald Trump Don and not my liege, get off the podcast. I thought you were a serious person.
Fair. Okay.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later, but I wanted to briefly bring up, and I'm springing this on Patrick because we didn't even talk about it in the pre-show chat about what's been going on this week. Tory Party conference happened this week.
Oh, it did. did. That's right. I heard a rustling in the bushes that said something deeply unserious was happening. But I assumed it was just about Trump, honestly.
No, Tory Party conference happened and ended this week. And the big thing to come out of that conference is that they want to get rid of this thing called stamp duty. And since Patrick owns a home in the United Kingdom,
I do.
Why don't you briefly explain what stamp duty is?
Right. Okay. So, funnily enough, Americans, if you remember high school, and why shouldn't you? You may have learned in history about a little thing called the Stamp Act.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it really annoyed the hell out of the American colonists because it was basically if you wanted to have a whole bunch of things, legal documents, playing cards, newspapers, that kind of thing, it had to be on official paper and had to have a stamp and you had to pay for it. In Britain, we don't really do that, but we kind of do it for one thing. And that is for the purchase of homes.
Okay.
Basically, you need to have that, it needs to be an official thing. It's got to be registered. And that is called the stamp tax. So it's a tax that you pay when you buy a home, basically.
Yeah.
Now, what's interesting then is that there are, there's more tax to pay if you're buying a second home. So there are real qualifications to how much you're going to pay and all the rest of it. It's a relatively complex area of law. But stamp tax is, I wouldn't say it's a popular thing, Chris. No one likes it.
No, it's a tax on buying a home.
Yeah.
So super duper. I'm already done. If you're in London, if you're in the UK, you're averaging out about $300,000 now. So you're averaging out some like $250,000-300,000 to buy a home. If you're in London, it's way more than that. And if you're going to put down a 10% deposit on an apartment, we're talking about, 45, 50,000 pounds before even talking about lawyers' fees and all the rest of it. You haven't even furnished your house yet. And then you have on top of that, this tax, which is why I can't buy a house in the UK. Yeah. I mean, forget about it.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say that the stamp tax is the reason why so many people have trouble purchasing, but God knows it doesn't help.
No, of course not.
Yeah. So, so it's not, I did not hear that the Tories were suggesting eliminating the stamp tax. I'm not surprised that they would go for such a thing, that would be like their big sugar cookie to toss into the crowd. But it strikes me as being exactly the wrong sort of sugar cookie at the moment because I don't know, man, the people who are paying stamp taxes, right? The people who are really impacted by it tend to be wealthier, So, if you're talking about getting rid of it, well, I think there's a lot of middle class people who'll be like, oh, great, that'll decrease the cost of buying a house to some degree. I'll save a few thousand. That's really good. Yeah. I could use that, right? At the same time, there's going to be a lot of other people who are like, but what about the rich people? They're going to save just squillions on this.
Yeah. And buy even more houses.
Yeah. And the government kind of doesn't have any money at the moment. So what are we going to lose in order to get rid of the stamp tax? What's that going to cost us?
$4.5 billion. It is basically red meat to throw to old school Tories, I think, to keep them in the pin for now, because so many of the cuckoo banana Tories like Nadine Dorries and Andrea Jenkins have run full sprint into Nigel Farage's arms because, they think he's the next coming of, I guess, authoritarianism. And there's regular people who probably are much more suited for, I just want to make as much money as humanly possible. I don't care that much about, the poor. So I just want to keep money in my pocket. Right. They're probably less, and I'm talking a little bit less concerned about immigration. They're more concerned about how much money can they pass on to their progeny, and I think that's the only reason to have a policy like this. On a right-wing party at this time in this place in political history in this country.
I think that's a really good point, Chris. I think you're right that we should see this as much more sort of a defensive action to maintain what they still have as far as a voting base goes, rather than a serious play to bring people back in who've already defected. Because if you're concerned with immigration because you want Britain to be white or something like that, you're already voting reform.
Yeah, you're gone.
You're not coming back to the Tories. And if you are concerned with preventing authoritarianism from happening, and you used to be a conservative, you're probably voting Lib Dem, and you're probably not coming back for that. So who? God, I would feel worse for the Tory party if they hadn't spent just so long in power, just being awful about things.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean,
like,
I don't feel bad for them at all.
Yeah.
You made your bed, you lie in it.
Yeah.
And, they have run so far to the right. And of course, Robert Jenrick, who's trying to be Nigel Farage, or worse than Nigel Farage, because they're talking about getting rid of the ECHR now and also, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Which human rights do I have that he thinks I shouldn't? That's the question I ask myself about Robert Jenrick.
Or the Conservative Party, the Reform Party, their big plan to win over the I hate immigrants vote is to get rid of everyone's rights and then rewrite it in a way that potentially benefits you. But you don't know because you're not going to be in the room.
Yeah.
They're not going to tell you how they're going to rewrite it. And even if they do, they can lie and do, a totally different thing.
That's it. We won't tell you what's in it until you drink it. Drink it up.
What's in this? Have a drink. Just eat it. What's it made of? Just have a bite.
Suck it and see.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what's been going on there. We should take a few minutes. Last week we talked about the Manchester attack. We didn't have a lot of information at the time. But
some new information has come out. Not good information either, unfortunately.
No. Probably shouldn't say the name of the person.
Yeah, but I'm not in favor of giving any publicity to people who kill people,
Yeah.
Especially those who are trying to do it for publicity. Yeah,
the person treated this, it's being treated as a terrorist attack. It's carnage all around. Now, I don't remember, did he stab?
Yeah, my understanding is that the attacker went after the synagogue armed with a knife and started stabbing people.
Which is unfortunate, which is, terrible.
It's horrific
in itself. And then as the police arrived trying to take down the guy, they accidentally killed 2 people.
Yeah.
Shot 2 people. I think both of them may be dead. So again, it's just a horror show of events, and we'll have to wait and see. I guess there'll be some kind of inquiry, and they'll keep talking about it. But
more facts will come out, and we're not going to waste everyone's time by speculating about things we don't know at this moment.
No, we're not going to do that. We'll see how it goes.
But yeah.
So where were we? Let's talk about the United States of America.
Oh my God! But that's after these words.
After these words. Yes, we're going to take a little break, and we're going to talk about the U.S. because everything's fine in the land of the free.
That was great.
And the home of the brave, unless you want to fly into any airports.
That could be an issue these days.
We'll be right back. And we're back.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the second half of the podcast. And now it's time to turn the eye of Sauron to America.
Yeah. If you're listening to this on a plane, we'll do a little prayer for you.
Yeah.
Because the government is still shut down. And there are certain people who have to stay at work.
That's true.
Including air traffic controllers. But these guys already have a stressful enough job. These guys are already keeping people alive, and they've already been under attack since the very beginning of the Trump administration, part 2.
Only now they're not getting paid.
Just like the National Guard, just like a whole bunch of other people.
Just like the U.S. military, starting on October 15th, by the way.
Oh, starting on October 15th. So these guys are calling in sick. They're calling in sick, and then it's like from 4:15. This is at Burbank Airport at 4:15.
Oh no!
We're just not going to be here anymore. If you don't like it, tough. We're working to our contracts, right?
Yeah. Oh my God, they're working to rule. Yep.
It sounds like they're working to rule because they're leaving at 4:15. It's like, well, okay, and then so basically, air traffic control doesn't mean that it's the tower in front of you. It can be a tower in a number of places. So I'm pretty sure that flights are okay. But again, this is the Republicans willing to put American lives at risk to keep the government shut down. But you have to ask yourself why. There are 2 main reasons why they want to shut down the government. The first one is healthcare, because they have this big fat lie,
right?
that they're trying to make the truth, that trying to turn into the truth.
Yeah, they're claiming that the reason why the Democrats won't sign the budget bill, right? Why the Democrats in the Senate won't provide the 60th votes to pass the budget bill is that they want to make sure that public money goes for health care for illegal immigrants.
Illegals taking our money and also got health care.
Yeah.
That's why they're coming in.
Yeah. Now, is any of that true, out of curiosity?
Total bullshit.
Yes, that's right.
Total bullshit.
I do think I remember reading something along the lines of how you cannot access Medicare or Medicaid. You cannot access public health care funds if you're an illegal immigrant in the first place, like, how would you even do that? How would you get the healthcare paid for? Like, what's going on is that in the United States, they can't turn you away from an emergency room, and the reason why they can't do that is that, otherwise people would die, Chris.
Well, yeah, and you know who the reason that system exists?
Why is that?
Because Ronald Reagan signed a bill into law that said, we should be able to take care of people when they come into emergency rooms.
That communist.
That dangerous communist who also fired all the air traffic controllers.
He did. He broke the air traffic controllers union. The Patco strike. Those were the days.
In normal times, you could probably spend an entire day talking about that. But we are not in normal times.
No.
We are here on this podcast talking about how the government is allowing the government to remain shut down because they're afraid that illegals are going to have access to health care, which they can't. Yeah. And for one other reason, which they're not saying as loudly.
Well, I think before we move off of the first reason,
I
think it's worth mentioning what exactly it is that the Democrats are holding out for.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, the deal is that thanks to the OBBBA,
the totally shit bill that Donald Trump said there was the one big beautiful bill that blew up the economy.
Exactly.
That's going to.
So it's fantastic. But one of the many things that it did was also fail to continue the subsidies to basically to people's health insurance on Obamacare.
On the ACA.
On the ACA.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing is, in order to make the ACA work, the whole idea was we make sure that everyone buys insurance that doesn't have it. To make sure that they can afford to do so, we're going to provide subsidies. By providing those subsidies, more people and healthier people buy health insurance.
That's right.
And because you've got a larger risk pool, that drives down the cost of insurance for everybody.
Yeah.
So it's really important that you have a lot of people buying that insurance in order to keep those premiums rates down. So when they fail to re-up the subsidies, what they're doing is making healthcare much more expensive. And I mean, like, tripling the cost of healthcare premium from like $300 a month to like $1,000 a month.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is not a thing you can do in America. Like, you just can't, like...
Let's just call it a massive balloon payment. Yeah. You can do it. But, I mean, you're going to push a bunch of people off of healthcare.
Well, that's the thing.
And you're going to screw over the economy.
Oh, absolutely. And who is it that's going to get off of? Who is it that's going to drop their insurance? It's going to be healthy people, Chris. It's going to be precisely the people who will be paying in and not costing the system, which means that only the really sick people who desperately need that insurance are going to keep it, which means that the insurance premium is going to go up, which means more healthy people were going to drop out. So this is a death spiral situation. Like, this could legitimately lead to like tens of millions of Americans losing their health insurance or being forced to pay just $1,000 a month or more. Yeah. So this is a horror show. This is a bad idea.
You know how much of a bad idea it is?
How much of a bad idea is it?
Marjorie Taylor Greene is against it. She's against these subsidies going out, specifically because she knows people who it's going to affect.
Chris,
it's finally happened.
I know.
We've talked about it before, but it's like, until it happens to you, it doesn't matter.
That's true. And it's happening to someone that she knows. So now it's real. Now it's a thing.
Now it's a thing that we have to solve because this is really important now, guys.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right, you keep on talking. I just have to check one thing. You know what I'm going to check?
And I am just going to point out how wild it is that Marjorie Taylor Greene is now the sanest, most House Republican, Chris. She is now the left wing of the Republican Party. She has not moved. She has always been insane and continues to be insane. She's just not as insane as literally every other Republican at this point. I mean, I don't even know what to say about that. But so, like, to give our listeners an idea, right?
She did vote for it, by the way.
So, did vote for what?
She voted for the Big Beautiful Bill. She regrets voting for the Big Beautiful Bill after learning of AI provision over a week later.
Yeah, exactly, right. And so I mean, she didn't read the bill. No one read the bill before they voted on it.
Whoopsie.
Whoopsie. It's like fly in the ointment, I guess you could say. But yeah, so the politics of this are insane. Like, a supermajority of Americans wants the subsidies to continue. a majority of Republicans wants the subsidies to continue.
Yeah.
This is not like a thing, a standing on principle and a thing that will benefit the Republican Party to like shut down the government and stop paying our soldiers in order to not extend the subsidies. Like, they could extend these subsidies and it would be a political win for them.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it would remove the Democrats' number one bargaining chip. It would mean the Democrats would basically have to agree to fund the government at that point.
Yeah.
And it's insane to think that they would ever make political hay out of, well, you know, the reason why we're making everyone suffer is that we can't let the Democrats save your health care.
Yeah.
Can we?
Exactly.
You know?
Because they don't want to save your health care. They want to give illegal immigrants health care.
Right.
But in doing so, you'd still get your health care, even if that was the case, which it's not.
Exactly. So it's just absolutely wild. So it raises perhaps the question, if they could easily pass a bill to extend those subsidies, and that would fund the government, and that would end the standoff, and a majority of Republicans want them to do it, and a supermajority of Americans want them to do it, why the hell aren't they doing it, Chris?
It's a good question. It's a good question. Now, they can't vote on this. Well, they can't, I guess, unlock the government without also making time for letting in Grojava.
Yes, Adelita Grijalva, who has just recently won the special election for her congressional seat in Arizona. So she hasn't been sworn in yet, has she, Chris?
She has not been sworn in. The Democrats have been trying to create time. They're not being recognized, and here's a bit of a wonky political legislative thing. All of this stuff in politics and parliament in Congress relies on the person in charge of the meeting recognizing you to speak, and then recognizing the motions that you put on the floor so they can be moved, so that there can be a vote. Right? So if somebody does not see you, as what we say in Parliament, like, I don't see, I didn't see the honorable member. I did see you. I just didn't feel like talking to you. I didn't feel like letting you come in, right? So they weren't recognized, they weren't seen, and so they had to leave because the guy, whoever was in the chair, wasn't going to recognize them. And this week has been, people have been cornering Mike Johnson. And I mean, the more he gets cornered, I mean, obviously, if you are a MAGA person, you think that he's holding his own and he's, standing up for anti-immigration and all that. But I mean, the visuals. I mean, they're calling them pedo protectors.
Well, and that leads us to what many are arguing. Some might say is the real reason why they have been refusing to swear in Adelita Grijalva, why they've been refusing to hold anything other than pro forma sessions, why in the middle of a crisis, Mike Johnson has sent all of his Republican congressmen home to their districts.
They're not there
to go on vacation.
It's also normal during a shutdown for everybody to stick around for negotiations to reopen the government.
Well, exactly.
And Mike Johnson's like, hey, guys, don't worry about it. You're going to keep getting paid. So just go home.
Yeah.
Don't stick around. And this is something else that happens here. We don't get the Commons doesn't get sent home. There's recess, right?
Right.
But when things are getting rough, you really want recess to happen. If you're one of the bigger parties, because if you are in the building, you're all gathered around, you're all having conversations, you're all plotting. For lack of a better term, whether good or bad. And so Johnson's obviously sending people further and further and further away so that they can't be in the same place at the same time.
Yeah.
Plotting in D.C. And the only reason this is happening is because of the Epstein files.
Yeah. It always comes back to the Epstein files. It's amazing. It's like a black hole that no light can escape from. Because for those of you who've been paying attention to why it is that this congresswoman who has won her election, won by a considerable majority, there's no question whatsoever that she won, why she hasn't been sworn in yet. And the thing is, it's not because the House hasn't been in session. You don't have to be in session to swear in a new member. And in fact, you don't have to wait any length of time. Earlier this year, while Congress was out of session, a Republican won a special election and was sworn in the very next day.
Yeah, surprising.
Yeah. So the number one reason why Mike Johnson is not allowing this congresswoman to be sworn in is because she has stated publicly that she is ready to be the 208th vote on the discharge petition to release the Epstein files.
And this week, and this is really important, that there were some hearings. Pam Bondi was sat down in front of, I don't know which committee, probably can't think of the committee she'd be sitting in front of.
Yeah, I think it was the Judiciary Committee.
Judiciary, that she'd be sitting in front of Judiciary. And she's for lack of a better term, she was asked all these questions, have you seen, and this is, I think, people are now skating around will most likely come out. And Michael Wolff wrote a biography or a book about Jeffrey Epstein, or he interviewed him?
He interviewed him for many, many hours, apparently. He has like videotaped interviews with Jeffrey Epstein that he says that he has. I have not seen them. But, he says he's got them. Michael Wolff is not the most credible person in the world.
No.
But on the other hand, it's not like he lies every single day all the time like, Donald Trump.
Yeah.
So, you've got to choose one or the other.
So and this was asked in Congress, in the Senate, during this committee. Basically, months ago, Pam Bondi was boasting to Fox News and to the MAGAverse and to the people who really want the Epstein files to come out, basically saying that we have the files, they're on my desk along with some other stuff. We're going through them. They're going to be released, blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
And then here we are in October. Let's say that was in the spring. Still haven't been released. Actively now avoiding them to be released.
Well, I mean, she claimed that there was no Epstein list. She claimed that, after saying it was on her desk ready to be reviewed, apparently what happened was somebody noticed, Donald Trump's name is all over this. Someone informed Donald Trump of this. And then Pam Bondi comes out and says, oh, no, there is no list.
Whoopsie.
Yeah.
No list. However, according to Michael Wolff, unsubstantiated because we haven't seen anything yet, there may be in this thing a picture of Donald Trump with topless women. We can guess.
Yeah.
And that could happen. And apparently there's also a picture of him with several women of indiscriminate age pointing at his pants or trousers or shorts or whatever and laughing at something that was on them.
A stain.
A stain.
Yeah. That is what has been described as being in the pictures, which is, maybe these are all perfectly innocent pictures.
Maybe it's coffee.
Maybe it is coffee, and that's funny. He's spilled coffee on his lap, and that's
champagne.
Funny. Yeah, right. Champagne stains. It's real.
Chlorine.
It's just, who hasn't thrown a party and gotten a little champagne right on your fly?
Dirt.
Yup. So
so many things it could be, but we don't know because the files aren't out there.
Right. Exactly. So this is one of those things where the speculation has been running so rampant for so long that like anybody who is facing this kind of thing and they actually have an honest explanation, they actually have an innocent explanation, you would come out with that.
First thing you do.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
Get right in front of it.
Yeah, because this is like
tip over the box and be like, no, I'm not that guy. Here we go.
There you go. Even if it is embarrassing, well, I mean, embarrassing things happen, and people move on and all that kind of thing.
We already know he cheats on his wives.
I mean, for God's sake, right?
That's public knowledge. So if it's just like, oh yeah, all of these girls are above age, and I was just fooling around, as everybody knows that I do.
Right.
It's not going to hurt the MAGA base.
Yeah.
If he cheats on his wife, because they clearly don't care.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the thing. None of this makes any sense unless what's in those files is so damaging to him. And what would be damaging to him would have to be so bad. Well, I hesitate to speculate, Chris.
Yeah. Let's not right now.
Yeah.
Let's not speculate. Until we might put that into a Patreon.
You're right. If we're gonna take a risk of getting sued for slander, we better make some money off of it, Chris.
Make some money off.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's kind of, and basically the two reasons why the government is shut down. The Republicans or the MAGA folk have come up with a completely crazy argument for healthcare, but there's also this outstanding and perpetual issue. It's not going away.
Yep.
And I saw a video just to close us out here for this subject. Joe Rogan, I think just a day or two ago, because Joe Rogan, friend of the pod, obviously. Very well tuned into the nitty gritty of political science.
The podfather himself.
The podfather. He was looking at some vote and he's just like, oh, it was 51-49 to not release the files. That's weird. Why did the Democrats not do that?
What?
And then somebody's like, no, Joe. The Democrats aren't in the majority. That's the Republicans who have prevented the releasing of the files. It's like, what? Yeah, it's the Republicans, not the Democrats. So remember, like, because you have to understand that the narrative of the MAGAverse, the deep, conspiracy core of the MAGAverse, including Marjorie Taylor Greene, was that Democrats and Oprah and the Clintons and everybody is drinking baby's blood and on Epstein's island. And,
harvesting that adrenochrome.
Harvesting adrenochrome, all this. And so it's just assumed that he clearly just assumed that, if it's bad, it's going to be the Democrats because that's what he believes.
Yeah.
And then the look on his face and he's just like, why would and that's been happening consistently over the past 5-6 months where Joe Rogan's like, wait, what? Why are they? And then you could just see it slowly emerging out of the forest of conspiracy, slowly pulling himself out of the La Brea tar pits. And you can't help somebody out or else they'll pull you in.
Yeah.
There's always a rope to get you out of that conspiracy camp. But you have to grab it, and it takes so much time. Because it makes you feel good. I'm not going to lie. If you think you know something no one else knows, you feel like a god. Because you're just like, you think that tomatoes are good for you? Well, guess what, my friend? Guess what?
I know the secret.
In the 1600s, they were poisonous.
Yeah. It's related to nightshade.
Which
is true. Oh, no. Is it nightshade or belladonna? Which one is tomatoes? Tomatoes are actually related to a poisonous plant, but tomatoes are not poisonous.
But they thought they were poisonous.
They did think they were poisonous. They refused to eat them in the Europe at first.
Yeah.
Which just goes to show you, people.
Stuff changes.
Yeah, eat things. Eat whatever it is. Doesn't matter. Changes. If you see a thing, eat it. Maybe it'll kill you, maybe not. But the important thing is
how evolution
to try.
Works.
Exactly. You will provide data for the rest of us.
Yes, you will. That's literally how it works. So we'll move on from there to our final topic today. And again, this is another terrible thing, but also potential distraction from Epstein.
Yeah.
The Trump administration has authorized National Guard troops to go into Chicago.
Yeah.
We've been talking about this for a while. And just before, this morning, because we're recording this on the 10th of October, a federal judge has decreed that that's illegal.
Yep. Yeah.
But it doesn't matter because, it does matter. Well, okay, legally it matters, but we'll see how the administration deals with it because I've been seeing pictures of, cars roaming around Chicago, helicopters descending upon buildings, rappelling down to break into people's homes to try to grab people because they said that Tren de Aragua.
Right. Tren de Aragua.
Tren de Aragua, I can't say it properly, is hiding inside the building somewhere.
Well, yeah, there was an entire residential building that was assaulted where you had ICE agents rappelling in, as you say, using smoke grenades, breaking open all of the doors, grabbing everyone who lived in that apartment complex, dragging them out, naked or not, into the street. And that includes children. And yes, that includes naked children as well. Yeah. So, that is incredibly gruesome. Throwing people, segregating them on the basis of race, throwing them into vans, basically, holding them for hours. And that includes all the American citizens that they grabbed like that. Now, there is no warrant in America that can legally be granted that would give the police the right to do that, Chris.
To basically take on an entire building indiscriminately.
This kind of general warrant is literally one of the reasons why the United States... why the American colonies broke off from the United Kingdom in the first place.
Yeah.
Is that there were sort of these general warrants that allowed, the king's men basically to enter any premises, to, look through any papers, and to look for anything that they wanted to without specifying. And this is the reason why the Fourth Amendment says that Americans are safe against unreasonable search and seizure, which means that the police, if they want to get a warrant, have to specify the location, they have to specify the time, the things that they are looking for. They can't just go in and break down the door and grab shit.
Well, yeah, that's what happens in authoritarian countries. Yes. I hear that you are an agitator. I hear that you are Antifa. Kick down the door, turn around your house, grab some of you. Yeah. Maybe we'll see you again. Maybe we won't.
Yeah.
This is, and I have friends in Chicago and they are in touch with me. They're telling me, people are outside of schools. ICE is, harassing people, arresting people outside of schools with kids in the car, just like you've seen in LA and other parts of the country.
Yep.
People who normally are at these schools or at these places have not been seen for a long time. It's and of course, during all of this, you have Trump declaring without any right that he's going to arrest, that he wants the governor of Illinois, J.B. Pritzker, and the mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson, arrested because they're getting in the way of the holy work that ICE is doing. This again. Imagine Obama saying that he wanted to have Mike Huckabee arrested. Imagine, Joe Biden saying that he, and this is a weird one, that he wanted to have Trump arrested, but for no cause and no reason.
Right.
Now, Trump did hold on to private, to White House papers and confidential papers in his home, who we refused to get rid of. And then the FBI, after long negotiations between Trump and the National Archives, he still refused to give them back, and that's why the FBI raided his house. That wasn't a political attack.
Well, and also
that was the law.
Point. The FBI got a fucking warrant. They got a judge. They went to a judge and said, "Hey, judge, we have reason to believe a crime is being committed on account of a crime is literally being committed.
All crimes.
And here is all the evidence of that." And the judge was like, "You're right. You have the right to search this location for these things." And then the FBI went and did that. So all of that was completely above board legally.
Yeah.
Like there's no, you can't claim that somehow that was like an improper use of federal authority, because A, the judges went with it. B, this is a facially reasonable thing to do when all Donald Trump had to do in the first place was just relinquish the things that weren't his.
Give back.
Yeah. Give back the shit that he stole.
Just like Joe Biden did.
Yeah, well, exactly. And that's, of course, why Joe Biden also just didn't get indicted for that, because he gave everything back.
He gave stuff back.
And it's not a high bar. It's really not a high bar.
It isn't a high bar, but they...
Swear to God.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's a lot of people saying, this is clearly this is payback for, Trump and Alex Jones and the rest of these people who all broke the law and visibly broke the law and, demonstrably broke the law.
Yeah.
But of course, this isn't just about payback. It's not just about revenge. It's about establishing the authoritarian order, which is why Stephen Miller had a bit of a glitch the other day. Yes, he did. He was on CNN kind of yelling, doing the Stephen Miller crazy yell thing. And then he's like, the president of the United States has plenary authority. And he just stops and stares into the camera, and Jake Tapper's like, or one of them is like, what? Are you okay? And he just stares at you. And he just blinks. And
I mean, to be fair, like my beliefs about Stephen Miller basically come down to, I'm pretty sure that he was born in a pod somewhere and then, stole the identity of a normal human child. Who was born by the name of Stephen Miller. And then every once in a while, the fungal menace that is his progenitor species, tries to communicate with him when he's in public through his bald forehead.
That's what happened?
And I think that's what it was.
Yeah,
it's perfectly normal, perfectly innocent, Chris. Exactly. It's just, the mushrooms that control his brain, they had a little convo.
Yeah, that's but let's take 2 minutes. He said plenary authority under Title 10 of the United States Code.
He did do.
Yeah.
He did do that.
And I had a look and I couldn't find anything that said that the president has unlimited authority to do whatever they want, which is what he was trying to imply.
You'll find that's Chris, because the president absolutely doesn't. That is not a thing that exists in a constitutional democracy.
But I think you'll find that Stephen Miller has already declared that the president does have the right, like a king or a dictator, to do whatever he wants, whenever he wants, without question. Because that's how America was designed by the founders. And if you don't believe that, then, El Salvador for you.
Yeah. So, God. So, okay, for those of you who are wondering about this, Title 10 of the United States Code, this outlines the role of the United States Armed Forces. So basically, this sort of sets out the legal basis for what it is that the services do. Subtitle A, for example, talks about the Uniform Code of Military Justice. That's military law. That's how that works, right? Subtitle B is about the Army more broadly, the Navy and the Marine Corps. You get...
Yeah.
So, when his reference to Title 10, he's talking about the president's role as commander-in-chief of the armed forces.
To tell them what to do.
Exactly. So... The thing is...
not to do whatever you want in a city.
Yeah. This is, again, we're going back to one of those things that, literally, the Americans fought a whole revolution over.
1776 till...
you might have heard it. It was in all the papers.
Yeah, it was all the papers in the 1780s.
Yeah, exactly.
But here's the question. This is really important. In order to actively use this power and use the military as you see fit, as obviously Stephen Miller wants, they need to declare an insurrection, which is why the National Guard hasn't been is now illegally in Chicago, right?
Well, that's
because there's no insurrection.
Like, and this is the thing, right? So, number one, so the United States has passed several laws to deal with precisely this issue because, number one, the country was born out of a sense of we do not like standing armies. We do not like overweening governmental authority. So we're going to write a whole constitution to limit what it is the government can do. So it's kind of foundational, right? And one of the things that the Congress did very, very early on in the life of the Republic was to pass the Posse Comitatus Act, right?
Yeah, we've talked about it a lot.
Yeah, exactly. And that means you can't use the U.S. military against Americans to enforce the law. The only way they can get around that is under the Insurrection Act. And that's what Chris was talking about, specifically that if there's an insurrection, if there's an invasion, then the president can declare that that is the case and then can use the military to enforce the law. But you're right, Chris. There's no insurrection going on in Chicago. There is no insurrection going on in Portland. There is no insurrection going on in
Memphis.
California. The last insurrection we had was January fucking 6th.
Whoa.
2021.
Calm down. Listen, that wasn't an insurrection. That was a calm, peaceful demonstration where they built some gallows.
Yeah.
Brought in some hand ties.
Smeared some shit on the walls of Congress.
Yeah, tried to arrest and potentially kill the vice president at that time.
Perfectly normal. Perfectly normal.
A normal, peaceful demonstration.
Exactly.
That destroyed tons and tons of property damage. But I mean, this is really important. It's not like the Canadians have descended upon Chicago and invaded it. Then you could do this and be like, we need to send in the army to take Chicago back. But that's not what's happening here. What's happening is that they are coming up with the most flimsy of arguments. And, I'm going to try to remember to put this in the description. The pictures, the videos coming out from Portland and Chicago. Now, Chicago is a bit more yelly and screamy, but in Portland, they have people dancing around in duck costumes and, the guy in the doing the cha-cha slide.
Yeah.
And like Kristi Noem, I think, was on the roof of one of these buildings. That's the Secretary of Homeland Security. She's on the roof of one of these buildings and there's a duck, kind of waving at her. And she's like, gonna get that duck. Gonna get that duck, And we're not talking about millions of people in the streets. We're talking about 10, 15 guys or people, just happen to be there. Yep. We're not, because people understand. I think a lot of people understand that the moment that somebody that blood is shed, that either National Guard or ICE blood is shed, they're going to try to declare it an insurrection. Yep. There's also, I think there was a car got rammed in Chicago, like an ICE car got rammed in Chicago, and they immediately said the person who was in the car had a semi-automatic weapon in hand and was ready to attack the ICE agents. That's now been proven to be, at least as of now, questionable because there's video from the other side saying that gun was in the car, in the glove compartment, and the person driving the car had the right to have it and concealed carry permit. So,
well, I mean, if you remember the case of Philando Castile from several years back, right? He was a guy who was driving along. He had a gun in his glove compartment. He had a legal right to have that gun. He had a license for that gun. He was pulled over for a faulty back light. And when the cop asked him, do you have a gun? He said, yes, I do. It's in the glove box. I have a license for it. The cop immediately shot him dead. So, having a license to have a gun doesn't honestly mean that much if you're not white in America.
Yeah. And the woman who was driving the car was shot. And a number of people have been shot are I'm going to say damaged.
Yeah.
There was a member of the clergy. I think he was a priest.
Oh, yeah.
He got shot in the face with a bunch of...
with a pepper ball.
Pepper balls. That's it.
Right in the fucking head. By a bunch of goons standing on a rooftop who were in no danger whatsoever of a Presbyterian pastor...
Presbyterian pastor, yeah.
Praying on a public street. They shot him in the face for praying, people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is, there is violence, there is crime, there is disorder, and it's ICE that are doing it.
Yeah, it's pretty clear. The ones that are wearing the Donald Trump head thing, the ones that are, super excited about what's going on, because let's not forget, whilst the government is shut down, if you sign up for ICE, you get a $50,000 signing bonus, and you get over $100,000 in the salary. Oh, yeah. All of your student loans are evaporated.
Yeah.
This is during the time where there's not enough money to go around, we're told.
Oh, exactly. So, that's why, we need to make sure that hundreds of thousands of children starve to death around the world. And by the way, that number is not exaggerated. That's just the thing.
That's what happens when you get rid of USAID.
That's what we're doing. So that's great. But yeah, no, there's a reason why all those kids have to die. And it's so that we can make sure that, thugs who are undermining America's Constitution and destroying American society can get paid.
Here's a thought.
Yeah.
And it's just a thought. I have no proof or anything like that.
All right. Ooh, speculation. I love rapid speculation.
It's another thought experiment.
All right.
How many Proud Boys do you think have signed up for ICE?
Oh, Chris, if there's a single Proud Boy who hasn't, I mean, I feel like he must be, his internet's out. We should probably go find him and let him know.
Yeah, has somebody not sent a drone over to, with the application in a hook to be like, just sign here, here's your gun, and here's your Trump in?
I really do have to wonder. I have to wonder,
this is something that someone needs to look into.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it might be just a real sign of just how incredibly incompetent the Trump administration is. If there are Proud Boys who have not yet been hired on by ICE. I will say this, Chris.
Yeah.
Because I do believe that the Trump administration is equal parts evil and incompetent. Maybe what's needed is a whole bunch of Antifa to sign up for ICE, get that signing bonus, and then just sort of immediately walk around and be like, yep, I don't see any illegals here. And just sort of see how long it takes. To get fired.
That's the problem. They must be doing, web search, like social media searches. They're not going to let somebody from Portland unless they're wearing a MAGA hat. Come in, and
they're not going to let you keep your dreads, are they?
They're not going to let you keep your dreads. No,
all right.
Your Birkenstocks are not allowed.
Damn.
Because the MAGA administration is declaring. I mean, they've all but declared war on several American cities, and we're not talking about like political war. We're going to go to war with Chicago and get out that Democrat mayor. And they're like, we're going to go into Chicago and start arresting people, armed troops, and start, terrorizing the city. Because that's what this is. They're terrorizing Democrat-run cities for, I guess, memes. And that's the only people that they're appealing to right now.
Well, that's the thing. They're seeing how far they can press. And I think you're right that they're really hoping for some violent pushback so that then they can declare the Reichstag fire. Then they can have their moment.
But don't forget, it's October.
Yeah.
And so, every day gets a little bit colder in Chicago. That's true. It's just, and in Portland.
Yeah.
Again, this all should have happened next summer, not right now.
You're right. It's incredibly bad timing by them. And I think, honestly, if I can give my, totally uninformed speculation.
Oh, absolutely. Give me your uninformed reckons.
So why the hell are they doing this now? It's badly timed. You're right. You want to, if you're really trying to get the kettle a boil, you do it when the heat is on high,
And the days are longer.
Exactly, right? You don't do it in October. You don't do it in November. I mean, I feel really bad, honestly, for National Guard guys who are going to be stuck out in the cold without getting paid as their marriages and jobs crumble in order to support this kind of bullshit.
Oh, of course, because they're what's that?
Right.
2 week, 1 week a year, 2 weekends a month or something?
Yeah, exactly. Right? Yeah, unless, of course, we decide to fuck your life because, Donald Trump thinks you're his plaything.
For free.
Right. So, why are they doing this now? And I think the reason comes down to this. Most attempts to establish soft authoritarianism, as happened with Viktor Orban in Hungary, as happens in many countries throughout the world, as arguably happened with Netanyahu in Israel. What you do is you get really popular first. Yeah. And having gotten really popular, then you can change the Constitution, then you can rewrite the basic law, then you can start packing the judiciary, then you can start getting your cronies into all the elements of society.
Yeah.
And then you can keep winning enough elections that you never have to worry about losing again.
Yeah.
Because you've just rigged everything in your favor.
Yeah.
And you never get unpopular enough that you have to pull a Maduro and say, well, never mind about the elections. I win. Ha-ha.
I win no matter what.
Right. Exactly. Without pivoting to hard authoritarianism. Right. I think the problem for Trump is that he is unpopular.
Massively.
He is the only president who is as unpopular as he is right now was Donald Trump in his first term. Donald Trump has never been popular.
No.
So this is he's 79. He's almost 80. He's almost 80.
That's also not true. I hear he's 53 years old, and he looks like he's 35. But I don't know if that's illegal for him to be president. But he's 53 years old,
right?
And he's 6'7", 180 pounds, glistening in the sun.
Oh yeah.
He has golden wings and sits on a golden throne and commands the armies of the Ultramar.
Indeed. Yeah. And so 1,000 psychers have to be executed every single day.
10,000.
10,000. To keep his connection to the
Astronomicon.
There you go.
Come on, man.
Yeah, this is all lore.
This is all real. We're not making this up.
But yeah, so basically, like, he's incredibly unpopular. He's lost his chance to be able to do this the nice, slow, easy way that Orban did and establish himself to be in power for decades, right? And so I think what's happening now is that they're kind of rushing. They're rushing to try to get everything that they can now because I think they know that this is only going to get worse.
Well, the longevity isn't there.
Yeah.
And of course, like I've said before, the United States is seemingly designed to prevent that kind of that kind of cycle that gives you 5 years. A lot of other countries, it's a 5-year cycle for everything. So Brazil, for example, it's a 5-year cycle for everything for the Congress. In America, it's 2, 4, 6.
Yeah, exactly.
So think about that for a second. It's like there isn't enough time, and that's why you have like these long Southern strategies. You have these long projects that take 40 years because there's always going to be somebody blocking you, and you have to look. Oh, they're not paying attention over here. We're going to invade the judiciary over here. We're going to pack the Supreme Court over here. We're going to blame foreigners for this over there.
And they really thought that they pulled it off, I think. I think they really thought that they had it, with the first Trump administration, because they finally got a supermajority in the Supreme Court of corrupt judges who would be, and I'm just going to say it, I think that the majority of the Republicans the Republican majority of the Supreme Court, I think, are just fundamentally corrupt, not just in the sense of like
Clarence Thomas,
taking money from rich people, or Samuel Alito taking money from rich people, but in the sense that, there's no judicial philosophy at work there. It's literally just, who do we want to win this case? Let's reason backward from there. Yeah. Or even just not reason at all and have a totally just issue decisions without opinions.
Yeah, let's just like they did with the abortion one. Let's go back to the 1600s and use like witchcraft law.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Without, interestingly enough, having read it, I've read that decision. It is an incredibly badly written decision. It does not hold together. But also, if you really are going to pull from 1600s understanding of pregnancy, you have to reckon with the fact that in the 1600s, you didn't have a baby in you until it kicked. Yeah. In the 4th or the 5th month. There's no pregnancy to end before the 4th or 5th month because that baby has no soul.
So I think
it's not a baby.
We've definitely drifted off.
We've drifted off. Yeah.
But I think we should end it there. Well,
we probably should. I mean, I think they're rushing because they're unpopular and they're not going to get more popular. That's my thesis.
Yeah, well, there it is. They're right. And I think that you're right because, we are about a year away from the midterm elections. Trump is exceptionally unpopular. Democrats are more likely progressive Democrats seem to be winning across the United States, whilst the Democrats themselves as an organization are still even at 42%, while the Republicans are at 43%.
The Washington Democrats appear to have grown a spine, and they appear to be winning the shutdown fight, Chris.
Yeah.
I think this is an indication that things are not going according to plan for the fascists.
No, and again, I think America, is a more difficult country to shift in that direction again because of the 2-4-6 period. And it's really difficult to change that because it's all in the Constitution, which is important.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that we
change.
Yeah, very hard to change for good and bad.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things that we haven't been able to talk about. Another of Trump's enemies has been indicted, Letitia James.
That's true. In one of the most ludicrous cases you can imagine.
Yeah. Maybe we'll do a short about it. And there's still, it's been 2 years since October 7th.
That's right.
And, is that, in time for the peace deal? Who knows? And there's that Rutgers professor.
Yeah.
Let's end on that. The Rutgers professor.
That's a good point. Yeah. So this is a professor at Rutgers University who wrote a book on Antifa, sort of writes about the left in the United States and has been targeted for harassment and death threats by, Turning Points USA and people there aligned, right?
They preach nothing but peace, Patrick.
Oh,
and
yes,
they're all pastors.
Yeah, of
all
course.
Of them.
Yeah, which is why they've got a list of professors who must be, killed. Like every peaceful organization.
Every peaceful organization has that kill list.
Exactly.
We'll post ours in a second.
Yeah. So this guy, after getting, death threats, and, having, right-wingers on the internet calling for his blood and all that kind of thing, decided, I'm going to nope out of this. Absolutely not. I'm not going to get murdered teaching in America. I am not going to subject my family to violence by the right. We are going to move to Spain, and I'm going to teach online, and this sucks for my students, but, you can't just have me killed. So he up stakes. Him and his family buy tickets to fly out to Spain. They go to the airport, Chris.
Yeah.
They get through security.
Awesome.
They get to the gate.
Right on that seat.
At the gate, they are told, I'm sorry, your tickets have all been canceled.
Okay.
Right.
So if you've ever flown before, you know the scary part of all flying is getting through security.
Yeah.
Once you're through security, you're sorted. You're fine unless, they've overbooked the flight or whatever.
Exactly. Because they check your tickets, they check everything, right? Like you can't get through security if you do not have a ticket, right? Which means that they had tickets when they went through security, and sometime between getting security and getting to the gate, someone canceled the tickets for them.
Yeah, and that would have to be, theoretically the company canceling the tickets.
Right.
But I mean, if I was him, I'd get a really good lawyer and also go to some safe house.
Well, I mean, what they did was immediately buy new tickets, and they were able to get out. They are now safely out of the United States. And that is not a phrase I ever thought I would have to say, Chris.
Yeah.
That people have safely been able to flee the country of my birth.
But the fact that person's ticket was mysteriously canceled.
Yep.
You need to understand how scary that is for all of us, because this person has just written books on the anti-fascist movement, which, by the way, is not a bad thing. Like, the anti-fascist movements are against fascism. Punch a fascist in the face.
I mean, I don't know. If you've ever watched a World War II movie, you were rooting for the anti-fascists, right?
The United States,
Great Britain.
Yeah. All of that. Yeah, they were anti-fascist. They're Antifa.
Yeah.
The people who attacked Pearl Harbor, they are not Antifa.
Oh, no, those would be fascists.
Those would be the fascists.
The guys who invaded France in 1940, fascists.
They'd be fascist as well.
The guys who attempted to invade Greece failed fucking miserably and called other fascists to do it for them. Also fascists.
The guys who took over Italy in the 1920s and 30s literally called the fascist party.
That's true.
Right? Yep. And eliminated things like the courts and imposed executive councils for judiciary. So this guy isn't a bad guy. He's not part of the, mysterious George Soros Antifa. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
But yet somebody somewhere canceled this person's ticket. And just, even if you don't buy anything else that we're saying, imagine if you got to the gate and somebody said, your ticket's been canceled, and you say why, and they're like, blah.
Yep.
They don't give you an answer. So you have to buy a whole new set of tickets.
Yep.
That's thousands. That's thousands right there.
That's the thing. Like, we don't know exactly why the tickets were canceled.
Nope.
Maybe it was a pure glitch, but
Whoopsie.
Gosh, it does seem like a hell of a coincidence, doesn't it?
Hell of a coincidence.
And the thing is, if it wasn't a glitch, I mean, what happened here? Was that like Turning Points USA called the company and said, you can't let this man leave the country? Or did Turning Points USA call the government and tell the government that they can't let that man leave the country? Did Laura Loomer decide to call in a favor with Il Presidente? What the hell is going on?
So many questions, all of them good, all of them worthwhile.
Yep.
We will talk about it more next week because we have run out of time.
I know.
But as always, I'm Dr. Silverstein.
I'm Dr. Armshaw.
And we are doctors,
not doctors.
Good night.